welcome to another episode of UTR Boxing. And I'm your host, David Wright, of course. So I did a video yesterday, posted a video yesterday about the big news. Spence is pulled out of the fight, the Pacquiao fight, because of something wrong with his eye. They said it was a detached retina or something, whatever it was, something with his eye. Now, I would like to wish Spence speedy recovery. Hope he's okay, because that could be a injury that can definitely affect the career of boxers. I think Sugar Ray Leonard had something like that, but he got it for whatever reason. It wasn't in sparring. It was actually in a fight. But Sugar Ray did come back from that. So if Sugar Ray can come back, I think Spence could come back as well. And maybe this was all in the cards. I don't know, because it just seems like the way boxing is working out now, people want these fights, and then they set up the fights, and then they don't happen, but there is a fight that happens as a result of the big fight not taking place. Then, I guess the fans still get what they want. Something like that. Like, what was it supposed to be? Fury versus Joshua. That was supposed to go out. They didn't, officially have a press conference, but it was supposed to happen. It didn't happen. And now supposedly we have Wilder versus Fury 3, which is supposed to happen, but you never know. But because of that, we supposedly have Usyk versus Joshua. That's a good fight. That's a good fight, but that was able for that fight to manifest because of, that fallout. And then, I don't want to say the Rigondeaux fight, because that was initially supposed to happen. And then it got canceled because, Donaire had won. He stepped back in, wanted to fight Casemiro, but that didn't happen, and now we're back to the original fight, which is supposed to happen this weekend. Now, I keep saying supposedly because, we don't know, because we won't know until it happens. So, so we'll see what happens. And then now, and it's interesting what's happening now, because with all this, mismatch and flip-flopping going on, or unfortunate things that happen, like injuries and stuff like that. And I'll go back, because if, Errol Spence did fight this fight with an injured eye and he lost, then, that would be something that would be mentioned. Because they knew that he had an injured eye and he fought anyway, and if he got hurt, then that would be, it could be a career-ending thing, so it's better to be safe than sorry. So I put no blame on Spence. You gotta look out for your fighter. they're people just like us. I know a lot of people are heated and angry, but hey, they're people just like you and I. They gotta look out for their family. They got families too. So why put your career, your family at risk for something that is, it's important, but it can wait. And who knows? Maybe Pacquiao will continue to be fighting next year. I don't know. We'll see. Spence says he's got the winner. So, but you never know what will happen. Like, this is boxing, so it could possibly be something like, well, before I get to that, let me go back to what I was saying about the other stuff, about the other flip-flop and stuff, like the Teofimo Lopez and Kambosos situation. This whole stalling in this fight could represent, or could create, a potential rematch between Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez, because Lomachenko's supposed to fight Richard Comey, but also there was talks of him fighting Devin Haney as well. Because they're supposed, and it's just like you don't, because nothing's been, there's no contract, you know. And you know, it is kind of like, because they did have a formal press conference with Teofimo and Kambosos. They did have a formal press conference similar to what Manny Pacquiao and Spence had, but you know, that's just a press conference, you know. They may have even done some like episodes, you know, like the Showtime episodes, you know, like the, you know, the 24/7. They may have done something like that. They did something like that on for Manny Pacquiao and Spence. I don't know if they did something like, but you know, like I said, nothing is finalized until these guys get in the ring. But this could be a possible. I mean, because Devin Haney was wanting to fight Lomachenko. There were talks about that. Now there's more talks about Haney fighting Rolly Romero, because Rolly Romero was talking a whole bunch of shit, you know, and apparently when people talk shit to Devin Haney, he goes and gets his people to call their people and be like, let's fight. Let's sign, make the con, make the deal. Because Haney's in a position to do that. So, but you know, we don't know. But it could be a possible, a little thing, then, you know, Teofimo will fight Lomachenko for a rematch. He might have to give up his IBF belt, which is a possibility because Kambosos is the mandatory. I mean, that would satisfy that. If he's not going to fight Kambosos, let's just say, okay, so he gives up the IBF belt. So Kambosos is now the IBF champion because Lopez had to vacate it because he didn't fight him. And then you have a fight between Lomachenko, a rematch between Lomachenko and Lopez for 2 belts, not 3 belts. It'll be the WBA and the WBO belts. Yeah, it'll be WBA, WBO, because Heavy Haney has the WBC. So it'll be a 2-belt fight, you know what I mean? Who knows what happens in that fight, you know what I mean? If Lomachenko wins again, then he would fight who? He would fight Kambosos, or he would fight Haney. But you don't know. But like that could be a possibility. If Lopez wins, you know, then he could fight Kambosos to get his belt back. You know, if he can win that fight. And then after that, you got a super fight between him and Haney. Who knows how it could go, right? But then on the other hand, let's just say Lomachenko fights Devin Haney. You know what I mean? And that's you know, I mean, that's a good fight for Haney. I mean, it's a good fight anyway. That's a great fight because they're both very talented. Those speed fighters. I don't know. That's a crazy fight right there. Devin Haney. I don't know, man. I feel like Haney would edge him out just a bit because, I mean, I think they both have amateur backgrounds, but Lomachenko has a more decorated amateur background. But Haney's super fast, man. Haney's super fast. He's elusive. I mean, he's long. He doesn't have much power, but he has enough pop to, you know what I mean, to get your attention. But he can score. Man, that's a crazy fight. I would rather see Haney versus Lomachenko, but maybe for belts, I don't know. For belts, multiple, I don't know. But I think Haney would edge that fight out. And I know I got my work stuff on, but I'm not on the clock, so I'm actually on my way to work. But man, that's crazy. I'm just thinking about that fight right now. What a fight. Lomachenko's older, but he's still in his prime. He can still fight. And then just Loma's style versus Haney's style, that's like a, man, that would make a crazy, that would be a really, really interesting, that'd be the fight I want to see. Maybe for belts, It's not for one belt, but, you know. Because Haney fighting Rolly Romero, I mean, it's a good opportunity for Rolly, but I think Haney's just too much. He's too fast and too skilled. He doesn't have to sit there and stand in the pocket. Because the only reason why he stood in the pocket with Linares is to prove to everybody that he could take a punch. And Linares hits pretty hard, but, you know what I mean? But Haney, he got hit once. Like, in that whole fight, he may have got hit like once or, I mean, in the face. He was like, he got that one, but you can see Haney just stood there. He stood there and took that shot. Or those shots. He stood there and took those shots. And yeah, he got wobbled because he got hit in the face, but he wasn't defending. It was a shot that he took on purpose. I can tell you that. That is the truth. Because why would you go through all the fight without getting hit? But he took that shot on purpose. Yeah, he'll wobble, but anybody can get wobbled by a shot like that when you're not defending. But, you know, but Haney's tough. He hung in there and did what he did. That's fine. But I promise you, he won't try to get hit like that again. But anyhow, so that's a good fight. If we so we don't know what's gonna happen to that situation, but we'll see. But like the Pacquiao and Spence situation, so maybe possibly, like I said, possibly, because they're always labeling this as a passing the torch. But could it be possible that Pacquiao and Spence collaborate together, and we're like, okay, Manny may have been setting up to take a beating from Spence, because Spence looked like he was in like Terminator mode, right? And just the way that Pacquiao fought, if you want to compare him to his last fight with Thurman, but you know what I mean? Maybe it's not too much off because of the age, I don't know. But maybe they were trying to prevent Pacquiao from taking a beating from Spence, possibly. I'm just saying, what if? And they agreed to have Spence pull out the fight and fight Yordenis Ugas, because I'm like, why would you fight Yordenis Ugas? Why, if the fighter is hurt that you're supposed to fight, why not just postpone the fight? I mean, they postponed many other fights before. What's the problem? Didn't they postpone the big Ali and George Foreman fight? Because George Foreman got cut, right? I learned this from Showbiz, watching Showbiz stuff. But George Foreman got cut in sparring, right? So they did postpone that fight. That was a huge fight. But they postponed that fight. So if they can postpone that fight, they can postpone this Manny Pacquiao and Spence fight. They could have postponed it. It's a surgery that he could have got done. Then he could recover in a couple of weeks, a month or something like that. Whatever. They could postpone that for 6 weeks. Why not? So the question is, why are they not postponing the fight? So what else is going on? So I'm just saying, what if they okay, so Yordenis Ugas gets to fight Pacquiao, which is, I don't know why he would have to get to fight Pacquiao. They say because he's on the card, but you know what I mean? Shouldn't there be somebody else in line to fight Pacquiao? If Pacquiao's still gonna fight, but on short notice, you got Yordenis Ugas. So already Ugas is already at a disadvantage in this fight because he didn't train to fight Pacquiao. He trained to fight somebody else. This Maidana guy. So he trained to fight a Maidana guy, but he is the WBA champion. Which is really interesting because they took that belt from Pacquiao, which you won from Thurman. Right? So now you're giving Pacquiao the opportunity to get his belt back because he should easily beat Yordenis Ugas, right? He should easily beat Yordenis Ugas. An easy way to get his belt back, and then possibly he fights Spence after this. Who knows if he's gonna fight? They said that Pacquiao had plans for him to have like 1 or 2 more fights. So if they already had plans for him to have 1 or 2 more fights, let him fight an easy fight, supposedly easy fight, and then fight Spence. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just saying. Because Ugas is probably not going to beat Pacquiao. 1, because he's at a disadvantage. 1, because it's Manny Pacquiao. But that's what it seems like. What I mean? Of course, nobody's going to give Ugas a chance. And if he wins, that'd be great for him, but I don't think that's going to happen, man. I mean, I really doubt it's going to happen. It seems like they're making a way for Pacquiao to get his belt back, but he's already active because he's fighting. So since he's already active and fighting, and then he fights this month, that means he possibly be able to fight September, October, November, December, maybe December or January. Maybe December. Maybe he's ready to fight December or sometime January, because this is probably not going to be a real stressful fight for him. Because you can see how when he fought Thurman, that fight put a lot on that fight put a lot on him. He took a lot. He took some shots. It took him a little longer to recover. But this fight probably not going to take him longer to recover, because Ugas doesn't really pose a threat. And like I said, they're maybe thinking, hey, look, if we can get Pacquiao, oh my gosh, why is it like this today? Man. Okay, well, I guess that's what that means. What the hell, man? Pardon me, guys, hold on. So anyhow, and maybe this is what the whole plan was, to say Spence had an injury, and then they not really postpone the fight, but then have Pacquiao fight Ugas. Pacquiao gets his belt back. So now and then let's just say he fights in August, it's September, October, November, December. That's 4 months, right? So a fighter can get ready to fight in 4 months. Like a fighter can fight like 3 times a year, you know what I mean? Maybe sometimes more, but as an older fighter. But Pacquiao would be fresh off this fight, and then he would have a belt, and then now you got a unification bout between Spence coming off from injury, and then Pacquiao, and then it's a much bigger fight. It's a huge fight now. Now it's a super fight, because Pacquiao just beat Ugas. So that's another win for him. He's coming off 2 victories, and he got a WBA belt. And he's fighting Spence, who has 2 belts, who's coming off an injury. So it's going to put Pacquiao even higher, and Spence is going to be like questionable because of the injury. And it's going to add more controversy to the story. And they can probably fight December or sometime January or February 2022. And then by that time, also, Terrence Crawford would have fought somebody, or he should have fought somebody. He should fight somebody by that time. So that kind of puts everything right in the right timeline. Like, he's supposed to fight Porter, but supposedly I heard that Porter is not going to fight Crawford because they're waiting for Terrence Crawford's contract to expire in October. Then once it expires in October, supposedly he's supposed to sign with PBC, so then they can make the Sean Porter. It'll be easier to make the Sean Porter. Imagine that. If they do something like that, they wouldn't have them fight on the same undercard, but they could. The PBC could. They could do Terrence Crawford versus Sean Porter on the undercard of Pacquiao versus Spence. And you got a huge card, 2 championship fights, a unification, and another championship fight. Similar to what they're trying to do with Ugas fighting Maidana. Wouldn't that be crazy? So that could happen sometime February next year, where you got Spence versus Pacquiao for a unification match. And then on the undercard, you got Terrence Crawford versus Showtime Shawn Porter. And of course, the winner of those two fight to unify the belts at 147. Wow. So that could be a possibility. I mean, because Shawn Porter doesn't need to fight. He's just training. Terrence Crawford doesn't need to fight. He's training. I mean, Terrence Crawford needs to fight, but he can still wait it out. Or or Terrence Crawford can take a fight with whoever before his end of the contract. But will he do it? I don't know. Anyhow, that's kind of what maybe I'm thinking. I don't know. That's what I'm just thinking could happen. Who knows? Maybe that's the setup. Maybe that's the setup. I don't know. But anyhow, guys, thanks for checking me out. And you guys take care. I'm out. I'm going to stop this video because I got to get in work mode. But anyway, that's just my thoughts. I'm just thinking, you know what I mean? Who knows? Who knows, baby? All right, I'm out. Peace.